The Trump administration now pausing all immigration applications from 19 countries it determined to be high risk. This comes in the wake of the Washington, D.C. shooting of 2 National Guards members, allegedly by an Afghan national.
And according to reports, the administration may not be done with this list, possibly growing to 30 countries. Former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary Jonathan Fahey joins us now to discuss. And in addition to that line on your resume, you are also a U.S. attorney. You are also general counsel to the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy. So, Jonathan, is this move on solid legal footing? Will it survive what is expected to be legal pushback from the left?
Yes, this will survive, and it's already been tested in the Supreme Court in, I believe it was 2017 or 2018, the case Trump versus Hawaii with the so-called Muslim ban. But basically, Donald Trump has the authority to ban immigration from places that he determines, remember, not a court, he determines are detrimental to the interests of the United States. And in these cases, we have it for 2 reasons. One, are these people going to be properly vetted to the degree we can be certain that we will not be at danger? And these countries, they calling them third world countries or calling whatever, it's not possible to meaningfully vet people. And Donald Trump's highest priority is national security, American public safety, and also the overall interests of the health and well-being of American citizens. So this will be upheld. It will be challenged like everything else. But we have Supreme Court precedent on something very similar, only a handful of years away. So yes, it will be upheld.
Here is Secretary of State Marco Rubio on this issue of vetting last night on Hannity. Watch this.
You can vet what people have done in the past. You can't vet what people might do in the future. There's another dynamic at play here, and that is you could allow someone into our country who has no history of radicalization. Perhaps they even have worked with you in the past, but they are susceptible to radicalization once they enter the United States because they don't assimilate well, because they fall victim to some of this online propaganda and efforts to radicalize people. And 2 or 3 years later, you find that they have radicalized. That is a threat. That is a real threat.
And that is the theory, according to Kristi Noman Pambondi, that the suspected National Guards member shooter was radicalized after entering the United States. So with that in mind, is there something that can be done that isn't being done right now when it comes to re-vetting people who are already in this country?
It would seem like the way you would re-vet these people is have serious interviews, look at social media history and other types of things to see what they're looking at, what they're concerned about, who they're associating with. Those would be things that could be quite helpful. Again, you don't always know, which sort of goes back to the initial question. If you can't vet somebody with a high degree of confidence, the default should have been you don't get brought in. Under the Biden administration, the default was always in favor of the immigrant, the illegal immigrant, at the expense of the U.S. citizen's safety and well-being. But yeah, so many of these people, there's no way to vet people from Afghanistan. You don't get to call the local the local Taliban office to see if somebody has the all clear. And remember, some of these people, they're saying they helped the United States over there, which is true, but they were also getting paid to do so. So I think people sort of attribute better motives to all of these people that might be appropriate for all the people brought in.
Point.
Obviously, this has been brought up to the fore in recent days because of the horrific shooting of those 2 D.C. National Guard members. The suspect in that shooting pleading not guilty, as court documents reveal. He shouted "Allahu Akbar" during the shooting. I look at this and I say, even though the judge during this hearing basically used the phrase, the DOJ's case is exceedingly strong, I see no chance that the DOJ can plead this out. They have to go to trial almost to send a message to anybody else out there who's thinking of committing a horrific act like this. Do you agree with me, Jonathan?
I agree. Absolutely. They should not take any plea that's short of him pleading to something that's eligible for the death penalty. But in the federal system, the jury is who orders the death penalty, so it has to go to the trial. They have to seek the death penalty and put it up to the jury because it will send the message to everyone else that we will seek the highest possible charges and highest possible penalty. And I absolutely agree. Unfortunately, D.C. will be hard to get a death penalty, and as we saw during the Biden administration, he commuted all the death sentences that were issued before him. So if you get another Democratic president similarly inclined down the road, even if he gets the death penalty, he might not get the death penalty. But putting that all aside,